not a CPA is because somebody gave me more options, right? You guys all met her at Squat Up Summit, Bethany, right? Bethany is what changed my mind. And even when I was a contractor, because that was like immediate for me, I could go make money doing it. I was like, I'm doing the contracting thing so I can one day become a CPA. Truly, that's a great, nobody's asked me that question.
Just imagine there's a 4-year-old being like, oh, it's CPA.
Oh yeah.
Okay, something's wrong. You talk a lot about the importance of family in life. Can you share a memory from childhood that you believe shaped who you are today?
One of the most important things in my life is so weird because I've talked to people about this, therapists, and sharing moments. It's also, you guys will see, I surround myself with a lot of motherly women. Do you guys notice that? That's why Anne Marie's one of my favorite people. I love being around her. I love being around mothers because my mom meant so much to me. My mom had 12 children, and I was number 3. Yeah, but, well, the fact that my mom is still alive is just insane. So my mom could never spend enough time with me. Why? Like, how can you? 12 kids? Like my wife and I right now, we have 4, and my wife's like, you want more kids, right? And I go, yes and no, because the no side is like, I don't get enough of these kids as it is. So I can't imagine how my mom was. 12 guys. They didn't buy an Econo line van because they thought it was cool. It's the only vehicle that would fit our family. Think about it. We bought a 15-passenger van because we had a 14-person family. So I remember there's so many things. This is how my life was. We go to road trips. It's the only thing that my parents could ever afford. My dad made good money, but like you have to make $500,000 a year to support 12 kids and go on at least 2 vacations a year, right? We would go to McDonald's. Do you think I got a chance to order my own food? My entire life, I did not have choices. It was, we're getting 12 breakfast burritos, 12 Sprites, 12 little blah, blah, blahs. Every single place I went. And I remember when I went to get my vaccinations for kindergarten, it was the only time I remember having one-on-one time with my mom. And so what happened is my mom took me and she loved on me, she looked me in the eye, and I remember how important that made me feel. And she asked me, what do you want more than anything else? And I just said, I want to spend the day with you. So she took me, she got me ice cream. And anybody that says, Pace is obsessed with ice cream, I go, no, I'm just obsessed with chasing the feeling I had when my mom took me for ice cream. Mm-hmm. And so for me, when I make you guys feel that way, people say, Pace sees me, he looks at me. It's because I learned that from my mom. Mm-hmm. And even though it was just one moment, it was a moment in time that changed me forever because the way I felt is how I try and convey to everybody else that I meet. I don't have bubblegum ice cream, but I will look at you and tell you I love you.
So, 12 kids. What did growing up with 8 sisters do to you? Or 40.
One thing you can see is our real estate community is 47% women. You'll never go, we are so special, and that wasn't by design. It was just by the energy that we create. It's a safe space, very, very safe for our female world. And it also, you'll see that the most important people in my life are women. And you'll see the people that run our communities and really lead a lot of things. Look at Molly, right? Look at all these amazing women. And so I think inherently, this is not something I woke up and I go, man, I need to be more appropriate and politically correct, and I need to champion women. No, I just had that from day one. There's twice as many women in my household than there were men. And so in my life, I always thought of women first, women first, women first, women first, women first. And so again, it's something that my mom instilled in me. My mom taught me all the greatest things. My wife doesn't do my laundry. My wife doesn't do any of those things. I did laundry in our relationship for the first 14 years until I hired somebody. I did the grocery shopping because my mom taught me, you show up as a man and you lift the burden of the woman because she has the hardest job in the house by a long shot. And because of that, I think I help give permission to women in our community to be nurturing and loving and show up and provide a different spirit than I ever possibly could, if that makes sense.
So your journey into real estate began with some unconventional methods like creative finance techniques. Can you share a story of your first deal where everything went wrong, but you learned the most valuable lesson?
Oh my gosh, yes. You guys want to hear my first creative finance deal I ever did?
Yes.
Okay, it was a Dodge Dakota. I've never told this story before, it's very quick. I get home from my mission. Now my relationship with my mom is very different than the relationship with my dad. My dad has been a taker from me my entire life. I should say differently. I think my dad never intentionally, consciously thought this way, but I think his actions tell me this way. My dad really invested in me really heavy. Taught me how to work hard, taught me how to go earn $1, gave me the confidence to know that like if everything hit the fan, I could go and make money being a painter or this or that. Like I never worried about money. I have the confidence of a dragon because my dad gave that to me. So I'm gonna close that part of my story and just let you know that my dad has done so much for me. This is not to diminish what he's done for me. But as I learned how to make money, I saved money to go on my mission in Korea, right? I went and lived in Korea for 2 years and I knocked doors for 2 years and I sold Jesus from door to door, right? I had a Jesus pamphlet, it was called the Bible. It's like, would you like to buy some Jesus, right? It was really a great sales mechanism.
It's on sale.
It's on sale. Limited supply.
2 for 1.
So I learned so many amazing things because of that, but my dad taught me how to save money, and my dad taught me how to earn money. So I saved my money for my mission, and I paid my way to get there. And 3 months into my 2-year stint in Korea, my dad, at the time, the missionaries could only communicate with their family once a week via email for 2 years. And it was on a Monday, and I go to the PC area and I would email, my dad says, hey, I need access to your checking account. I know you have some money, I'm going through some tough times. And I'm like, yeah, no problem, here you go, boom. About a week later, my mission president calls me up and he goes, hey, just so you know, your auto payment failed. Like, I go, that's impossible, like I have like 50 grand in there. My dad took every single dollar from my account. And my mission president said, hey, I know how important this is to you, and how about I give you a loan? And so at that point, I started realizing the power of other mentors outside of my father. And my mission president says to me, he goes, you have gotten as far as you can with your father. It's time for you to start looking for other mentors. And man, that was so important because I see other men still chasing and listening to their father and only got so far. And I realized that it was my time to take the torch that my dad gave me and carry forward instead of constantly asking for advice from my dad. So Elder Bangerter was his name. He gave me $50,000 and supported me in my whole mission. And I got home and I got to work painting. But like, here's what happened. I get home, I had nowhere to go. My dad is for some reason in Denver, Colorado. I have no idea why they were there. I come home from Korea, no friends, no cell phone, no money, nothing. No car, no connections, nobody to get a job from, and I'm 21 years old, and all I have is the ability to speak Korean and sell Jesus, right? So I'm like, all right, what am I gonna do? And I go down to Arizona, I live with my sister for a couple of weeks, and I go get a job with a friend of mine down in Arizona. And I start working at a bank. I get my first check. I take that check. I go get a cell phone. Holy crap, now I'm dangerous, because now I have a cell phone, holy moly. And I hear on the radio, hey, there's a big tent sale going on. You will finance anybody. Dude, that's me. So I get on a bus. I have no other way to get around. I get on a bus, I drive way north Phoenix, it's like a 2-hour bus drive, and I get to this extravaganza of people selling cars in this massive white tent. And I walk inside, got my cell phone, I'm like, they'll finance anybody, this is dope. And I walk in, and I talk to a sales guy, very long story short, he's like, we can't finance you, bro. Like, you've been out of the country for 2 years, like. And as I'm leaving, I walk across this little single cab, white Dodge truck, little stick shift, little, thing, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just feeling super defeated. And this drunk sales guy comes up to me. He goes, bro, how can I help you? Nobody can help me, can't get finance. He goes, we're gonna finance you. So we sit down on the thing, and I'm feeling like we're breaking the law the whole time. Like he's looking around, he's filling out all the information, and he goes, "Here's the keys." And I literally drive off the lot with no money, and no, he didn't even pull my credit, nothing.
Was this a stolen car?
So I go, where do I make my payments? Like, how does this all work? He goes, oh, the finance department will reach out, don't worry. And I'm like, all right. So like 2 months later, I'm like, dude, nobody's reached out to me. This is crazy.
Stolen car.
Stolen car. I get a call from the finance department. Hey, we need you to bring that Dodge back, dude. That guy was like a temporary person that we brought in.
Was it stolen?
And he wasn't supposed to do any of that stuff. And I go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Because what happened is, I go back to the bank, I now have a cell phone, I have a car, and I pull my cell phone out and I'm texting somebody while I'm at work, and somebody comes up to me and they go, you need to put that phone away. And I go, I quit. And I had freedom. I had a vehicle. That vehicle represented freedom to me. I could get up. Hell, I could sleep in the back of the truck if I needed to. I didn't care. So when she called me, she said, you gotta bring the truck back. I go, that's not happening. Like, you're gonna have to track me down. You have to find me, right? And she goes, okay, well, let me see what I can do. So the owner of the dealership calls me up and he goes, who the hell are you? Who do you think you are? I go, well, I'm this, that, and the other. My dad took my money and this, that, and the other, and I'm in a situation where now I'm making money. And he goes, you know what? Why don't you just make payments to me? I made $200 payments to this guy for 3 years, and he seller financed that Dodge Dakota to me. And what's funny is I didn't realize how powerful that was until I was literally 10 years older, and Bethany actually like highlighted to me like how important and how significant that was, that you could get anything you want in your life using creative finance. I didn't know until somebody else showed me. And so fast forward to my first time I did my first creative finance deal. I didn't quite understand sub 2 11 years ago, and so what I did was I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. I think this is what sub 2 is. You buy a deal with a hard money loan, and then you let somebody take over the payments on the hard money loan and sell it to them sub 2. That was my first sub 2 deal. So I had a 14% interest rate loan, and I had this Hispanic family living in it, happily making the payments. And then I told Eileen Brown like what I'd done, and she's like, "You are breaking the law. This is a federal crime. You cannot sell or finance something that's interest only. Where's the paperwork?" And I showed the paperwork. This is dog water. This is so bad. And I probably lost like $30,000 on that. And I got the money back. But what I originally was doing is I ended up refinancing the loan into a permanent loan. And Eileen was like, this is literally the opposite of what creative finance is. This is the worst deal anybody's ever done. So that was my first creative finance deal, is I lost money monthly because it's a long story I won't get into.
What was the lesson you learned?
The lesson I learned was shut my mouth and open my ears. And Eileen Brown sat down and like really explained so much more to me. But also, here's the other lesson I learned. Everything I learned was after I took action. Everything I learned was after I took action, not before. And I think everybody else is like, oh, I'm gonna wait to take action, I'm gonna wait to take action. It's like the avocado thing, right? It's like, I'm gonna wait till the avocado's perfectly ripe, perfectly perfect, and then you get busy one day and the avocado goes bad. Because avocados go bad real fast, right?
Oh, yes.
So I learned that my personality type is action first, questions later. And that's why I get so much stuff done versus other people. While I'm talking to Cody Sanchez, last thing I'll say about this topic, but the thing I learned, and Cody Sanchez sees this, she's like, here's what's crazy about you. We will get literally the same advice, because her and I have, one of our mentors is the same person. We will get literally the same advice, and by the time I even start taking action, you've done it 4 times, failed 3 times, and figured out a better way than the guy told us to do it in the first place. By the time I take my first step. And so my superpower is just action. And I learned that through these things, and I learned 1,000 different micro lessons, right? I also learned the value of a micro lesson, and taking a moment and going, well, look at all these little things I learned that I now know. Like even, here, when you learn, even here today, you'll look at avocados never ever again the same, right? As funny as it is, you're gonna look at an avocado and be like, freaking Pace, you ruined avocados. But it's a little micro lesson that stacks up, and the things that Jerry teaches me, and even the lessons I learned from Jerry and Anne Marie that are not verbal, they're, physical things that I watch them do. Eileen Brown did a good job, and she said, don't feel bad. Let's talk about the 15 things you learned. And I had to stretch. I was like, 15 things? I can tell you 5 things right now, but 15, that's a lot. And she got me all the way to 15, and she helped me extract the value out of that deal. And the value was those 15 lessons, not the deal itself, right?